Maurice Ben, Tony Staynings in second place, Bycourt moving into third place, 127 moving up very quickly is Chris Riddler. Chris Riddler now moving up onto Bycourt, and Tony Staynings has now taken over from Maurice Ben, so it's Tony Staynings at the moment with 1 lap to go in the lead. Maurice Ben is in second place, quite a gap, and then comes John Bycourt, and the runners spread way out along the track. John Davis well down the field, surprisingly, and so it's Staynings out in front, Maurice Ben in second place, and I think if anything Staynings is lengthening his lead. We can't expect a very fast time, I don't think, in this race with such windy conditions, particularly very stiff conditions down that far straight. The world record, just for what it's worth, is 7:35.2, held of course by Brendan Foster. Staynings going beautifully, going very fast, running very well indeed. I don't know whether he can sustain this kind of pace all the way down, because he's sprinted from about 300 meters out. And getting a considerable round of applause now from the large crowd here, some 10,000 of them. Tony Staynings going to win this very easily indeed. Maurice Ben in second place. A lead of some 30 or 40 yards. He takes the tape now, the time unofficially, there you are, 7:55.
Dennis Coates from Staynings, from Bycourt, and Dennis Coates stuttered at that barrier, and it's very quick, and 8 minutes 32 could well be a possibility, and that's what Dennis Coates is all about. He must qualify for the Olympic Games now, and Staynings putting pressure on. He's gone for home. Dennis Coates, Staynings has got good cadence at this stage of the race. Bycourt looks to be gone, and Tony Staynings, the man at Western Kentucky University, takes Coates and starts to make for home, 200 meters from home, and it's pretty quick. And now let's see if Coates has got anything left in him and see what Staynings does over this last water jump. Yes, it was good and strong and powerful, and comes into the straights. Now look at this time. Let's look at the time down the straight. It's 8 minutes 32 we're looking for. Tony Staynings of Bristol Athletics Club, the boy from the United States, being approached by Dennis Coates, but he's not going to be caught. And Tony Staynings, 8:29.8, raises his arms in the air. This will be a personal best for both these men, but Tony Staynings of Bristol pulled it out when it mattered, and there's John Bycourt in third place, looking to him, and Staynings has just looked up at the board, looked at the time, jumps in the air, now trots back down the home straight to the acclaim of the crowd, because he knows it's a personal best, it's an Olympic qualifying standard, and he really should be in contention now for possible selection for the Europa Cup final in Nice in 2 weeks' time.
And the man he put out of contention is the man he must owe a great debt of gratitude, Dennis Coates of Gateshead. There he is, walking away dejected, did most of the work during the race, ran 2 personal bests, one in the heat, then in the final, broke the Olympic qualifying standard, was looking for a place in Nice, and all he succeeded in doing was pulling Tony Staynings to a lifetime best, nursed him round, and it was the better man over the flat, really had the faster finish, and congratulations all round to him. And suddenly, John Davis is not being so sadly missed as we at first thought, although it would be great to see John Davis, the Thames Valley Harrier boy, in as our number 1. These two have suddenly bridged that gap that looked as though it would be an embarrassment to us at international level.
Bycourt really attacked the barrier on the outside, though. Staynings met him as well, and it's a battle for speed now with 1 barrier left. And Staynings seems to have the superior speed. But his hurdle technique is questionable. But not this time. Got it beautifully, and nothing Bycourt can do now will defeat Staynings. Staynings out in front. Bycourt in second place. Mitchell very tired third, but hanging on. Staynings wins and is delighted. Second place Bycourt. Third is Mitchell. 4 Wild and 5 Holden. And Staynings has come back from America in very useful form indeed.
One of 3 Bristol boys at the University of Western Kentucky.
And I think both David Coleman and I have been saying over the past couple of seasons, if only this boy learnt to hurdle. But the staccato approach to each of these barriers must be adding seconds to the whole race. But he's got a bright future, and that squad that left these shores for Bristol have benefited enormously from their stay over there. But he's enjoying the competition in Europe and thoroughly enjoyed his win and his run against the Russians.
Goes into the lead. Velichenko, we haven't seen much of him. He's suddenly gone into a lead. Now, I'm saying that the two British boys suffered the worst from that burst, and they'll come up and hear the bell now. Dennis Coates ahead of John Bycourt, but they've got a lot of ground to make up. Tony Staynings, the only one in contention, and Alexander Velichko, the winner against Great Britain last year, has gone into a lead now with Staynings on his shoulder. 7 minutes 27 at the bell, and he's come back at him again as Staynings puts his head down and goes, and that's one way to attack back when you have the lead taken away from you. If you can hit him again and make him suffer, and Velichko must wonder what Tony Staynings is all about. He's hurdling better than he's hurdled all through this race. In the early part of the race, he had staccato strides before he got to the barriers. Now he's hurdling better, but he's got to take this water jump. He's coming into it now, and he goes into it with real courage, and Velichko puts his head down and chases after him. But this is the last hurdle for Tony Staynings. Can he make it well? It's just between him and Velichko. He moves out to let Velichko come in, and he's taken it well. Velichko's head went back, and Tony Staynings is going to get a notable win. Staynings goes away 5 yards clear of the Russian. Dennis Coates is having a battle for 4th place, and is going to get there in 4th, but what a good run by young Tony Staynings. There he is, looking delighted, and his time unofficially 8:30.6. John Bycourt looking pretty dejected at the back. There's the number 6, Grigos, going ahead to congratulate him. And there is Dennis Coates, who really did have a hard run at the line and managed to get 4th place.
Contact, and it could possibly be, as we approach the bell, that the unlikely has happened. There's the possibility of 2 Britons qualifying. And Coates is so far clear now. He's 20 to 25 metres clear, and still going well, inspired by this enormous crowd. Glanz looks back to see Candidate in 3rd place. Cast is 4, Robertson 5, and Staynings, the little man from Bristol, in 6th place, with the American number 1 dropping back in 7th. That's Brown. And if Staynings can hang on there, he's sure to qualify as well. Those look to be the 6. And Coates is so happy he's got time to celebrate. Must be a marvellous feeling in the Olympic Stadium when you produce your best run when it matters. He may not be a medalist, but he really has run supremely well. And he's lifted by this as he goes into the water jump. The crowd appreciating this. Candidate of Finland overtakes Glanz of Sweden. And Coates running way, way above himself. The British record, 8 minutes 22. And surely he'll smash that if he goes on. He's easing up a little bit, but the British record beaten by a substantial margin, over 4 seconds. In 2nd place, Candidate of Finland. 3rd is Glanz. 4th is Cast. 5th is Robertson. And Tony Staynings qualifies for Great Britain and goes into the final. Well, Coates has attacked throughout his running career. Whenever you see him, he's prepared to front run, he's prepared to have a go. He's broken down in the past, but this time he stayed with it, and it's paid off on the clock. A new British record, 8 minutes 18.96 for Dennis Coates of Gateshead.
Andy Holden in danger of being caught by his clubman. Malinowski, sensing that he's home and away, really beginning to pour it on, and he'll hear the bell. And Kvalheim doesn't have any speed to match that. He's settled into an easy pace. Tony Staynings in 3rd, well clear of Andy Holden. And Tony Staynings, the shorter man, he's only 5'5", choosing to step onto the barrier and off. Malinowski charging down the back straight. His lead now about 30 metres.
It's going to be outside 8:20, so his own all-comers record is safe. Down to him back in 1975. But a good win from this world-class pole. The Olympic silver medalist looks over his shoulder and starts his lap of honour down the home straight. Always a welcome visitor. Malinowski takes the tape there, looks behind him to see that Kvalheim is 50, 60 yards back, takes the tape now. Tony Staynings in third, and it's Peter Griffiths, the Tipton Harrier, in fourth place. Andy Holden in fifth. As Malinowski eases round the back straight to a very appreciative crowd.
When you look at Malinowski, you think he might be a Scotsman, which he almost is, because I think his mother comes from Musselburgh. Married to a Pole, obviously. And Malinowski obviously enjoys, too, his visits to Britain and obviously to Edinburgh.
An official time of 8:25, and that's a Scottish all-comers record, not a British all-comers record. So it's the fastest time ever run in Scotland, 8:25, the actual time to be confirmed. So a good but comfortable run for the Olympic silver medalist, Malinowski. Up for second and third place, I sense, as they get the bell. Dennis Coates has a lead of about 12 minutes. 8:26 at the bell. 7:26 at the bell. Then Tony Staynings, and then dropping back just a little bit, Ian Gilmore. And I think that Peter Griffith senses that there's a place there. Yes, he's stolen past Ian Gilmore and creeps up into second. Tony Staynings chasing, and but Peter Griffiths is coming onto his shoulder, and the gap has closed between the second man, Tony Staynings, and Dennis Coates in the lead. And he stuttered at that one, and suddenly that gap has been reduced to about 7 metres, with 200 metres to go. Staynings coming hard. Has a lot of sprint finisher, Staynings, and he senses that Coates is losing a little bit of steam, and there's now only about 4 or 5 metres. Tremendous race, a courageous effort from Coates, but what a good run by Staynings as he comes past. He really launches himself, loses another 2 strides. He attacked the hurdle, lost it, regained his cadence again, and sneaks a win from Dennis Coates. Fine run by both these men. Peter Griffiths in third. Tony Staynings, 8:30 plus, but that's a very fine run from Tony Staynings, but he owes so much to Dennis Coates, who fell in the first lap, picked himself up, picked the pace up, made it respectable, almost made it his own, but lost it with 150 metres to go.
And Staynings now, he's done well to respond to this, settled in second place, ready to attack Coughlin as they come round now. Just over a lap to go. It's Coughlin from Great Britain's Tony Staynings. Staynings known for his finish, a good steeplechaser, a good strong man, and the gun goes with 1 lap to go. Eamon Coughlin now settled down in front. The question is, can Tony Staynings attack him? Coughlin opens out. Staynings tries to respond. The pair off and come into the final bend with 100 metres to go. Coughlin opens out, kicks away, tremendous speed at the end of this race. They're just slightly over 13 minutes, but probably the third fastest time in the world ever set by Eamon Coughlin there. Great run by him, and also by Britain's Tony Staynings.
There was no contest, was it? Coughlin just kicked, just went away. He really is a very classy runner, and the crowd here love him. They've seen him run many times in America. The officials trying to catch up with him. Coughlin looks as if he could jog another 3 miles to take the applause of the crowd. First-class run, first-class victory. US all-comers record, a championship best, 13 minutes 2.8, a European record as well, of course. Tony Staynings, a British record in second place, 13:03.7, and Bruce Bickford, a US record in third place, 13:06.
Terribly late. Staynings, who's at university in America, There's the bell, and Staynings now some 15 metres behind the leading two. Steve Jones in fourth place and Colin Reed fifth. Roger Hackney not leaving it to a finishing sprint. He's really pushing on and testing Rimmer. And Staynings is closing up all the time. Well, this is astonishing running by the little Bristol boy. He's gone into second place. He's come from a long, long way back. He's left it very, very late, but he's full of running, and he's the man now is the danger. Hackney's going to have the shock of his life there. Staynings didn't take that too well. He's having to conserve his energy and attack again, and there he goes, and Hackney's got nothing to answer with at all. He's come from 15 to 20 metres back, and he really gambled at that barrier. He took a real flower at the water jump and got away with it, and he's coming away again as Hackney starts to respond with just one barrier left. He could afford to take this comfortably, but he's not doing. He looks back and he's safe, and Reitz has come with a tremendous run on the last lap too. He's back in third place. But Tony Staynings wins quite comfortably in the end. He's taken 30 metres out of Hackney in the last lap. Hackney second. Third was Reitz. Fourth, Steve Jones, and Rimmer out on his feet back in fifth place, having been right there at the bell. And the last lap, well, a quite amazing 61 seconds for Tony Staynings, and the time 8:27.24, inside the official Olympic qualifying time, but outside the British board's selection time. Well, they really felt that. They draped all over the track. Not surprising too, because that was a really punishing last lap. Roger Hackney must have thought when he'd broken Rimmer, he'd got the UK Championship at his mercy, and then suddenly Staynings emerged, and now, with all the bounce that only a winner can show, he's on the lap of honour.